All right, so we are in Ren's Money Game Part 3 chat. While I was kind of trying to pull up the chat earlier while I was working, I noticed that he had the scavenger hunt, I guess, going on, and that video was insane. That was really that was craziness. So yeah, I'm waiting right now for the video to start for Money Game 3. We got 4 minutes. Ren's in here, Nox is in here, Wolf is in here. We had a bunch of reactors in here, rightfully so. So this should be fun. I'm excited to see what Ren's got in store for us next. Look, the hype is real for this one. I don't want people to think that this is going to be the best thing in the world, because, you know, not everything makes the mark, right? So I'm lowering people's expectations only so we enjoy this and not. Look, Ren's made a bunch of cool stuff, a bunch of great stuff. We know that this video is going to be crazy. For those of you who haven't been part of those of you that have not been a part of these live premieres, for me, for how I react, I'm just going to listen through it at the beginning, at the inception of it. And then after that, I'll go back and do the start and stop thing, and we'll talk about it. Only because I want to get through the premiere and react, like, have an actual reaction with the live chat. And then after that is when I'll go in and I'll actually, like, stop. We'll digest it. We'll break it down. We'll analyze it bar for bar, I guess. For these premieres, I like to just watch through it. So those of you who say I talk too much, you're going to get your fix of it at the beginning. So his original scavenger hunt was the top live stream on YouTube. And right now, yeah, this one's the top live stream at 5,200, and it's quickly going up. So this is going to also be the biggest live stream on YouTube once this gets started. I'm excited to see the video because I know that they put a lot of heart and soul into this. I'm going to put the headphones on because it's about a minute off. Obviously, there's a 2-minute intro, right? But let's do this. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Looks like Hiren. I want to do this, actually. That's cool. He made his own little starting screen. Okay. Telling people to chill. So I think that's kind of gives me more of a nervous aspect. It's like there's so many eyes on this now, as opposed to like when Hiren came out, it just came out. There wasn't a lot of many people as there is now. So that's what makes me nervous, and the hype that's going kind of along with this. Don't expect me to be on point with this like I was for like Hiren and stuff, just because I am so nervous. Not for me, just like for this video. I have a lot of emotions going into this, right? This is a culmination of literally where my channel started, coming to a close right now. So like, it's very emotional for me as well. You guys don't understand how much of my content has been Ren. This is gonna be my 36th, I think, Ren video. So like, most of my content has been Ren. So it's meant a lot to me to have Ren on the channel. It's a lot coming to fruition, you know? All right. Shh. Talent on the piano as well. Camo work, look at that. This one's Ren, you can tell. way darker. Got the lapel, so it's also live.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man, he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms.
This is crazy.
27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval, moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket. $35, he gets the call. I'm sorry son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack, I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed up, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed.
Gonna push him over the edge, do some crazy shit.
38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion, heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour. Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck.
Guys, there's gonna be so much to break down with this. Holy shit. Yeah, bro, someone stop this man. Oh. Got an orchestra?
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, mine, gimme. 41, he wasn't walking. 42, not walking quickly. 43, never running round the pavements of his city. 44, inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him. And it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck for money and fame. Cut the music.
Bro, goosebumps right now.
This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution?
Bro, this is fucking intense. Brother turned to Dr. Seuss.
Everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me, then there's no future I see where the humans survive. We're parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface then consumes till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise.
Per usual, always a tragic story.
45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants, he is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father, it's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
Fuck. I mean, we have to go back, right? We have to figure out. We have to break this down, guys. Okay, look. Before I do that, any of that stuff, you know, a lot of what I like about Ren is him not being afraid to kind of not talk shit, but like be realistic and be real about the government, our politics, our society, pretty much everything that's important that nobody else wants to talk about. He's not afraid to talk about. This whole story here about Jimmy, right? It's who Jimmy is doesn't necessarily matter, right? But the whole point is, you know, everything that we do is about who can make the most money, right? If you make the most money, you are successful. That's how you know that you're successful, is how much money you have. And you know, from the very beginning, right? This kid was an overachiever. He was top of his class. His dad, you know, kept pushing him to keep going, keep being you, keep being an all-star, right? What happens when you do that? You set the bar so high, not only for yourself, but for the approval of everybody around you that have had this, oh my gosh, he's a miracle baby, whatever. That once you miss that mark, you panic. Then you start doing things, right, to get to that feeling again, to get to that what you believe is success. Selling drugs, right? You know, creating selling drugs, weapons, anything you can think of. He talked about selling you know, warheads in around the world, right? All these things, like, you're gonna do anything you can to get that money. And that's, I think that's putting it generally. We're gonna rewatch it, but generally speaking, like, that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what he's saying. And at the end of the day, you do all of that and you're never happy. Everything, you're always wanting more. And Ren said something in the chat while we were waiting for this to happen, which is essentially like, if you guys don't know, for the scavenger hunt, the people who found the money, they ended up burning it, right? So nobody got that money. And Ren was saying, like, if he were to burn paper, would any of us been outraged? And he then went on to say, you know, that the money only means something if you let it mean something, right? Why don't we let, you know, education be an important thing, more important than money? Why don't we, you know, let people's mental health be more important than money? That has a lot to do with society. That has a lot to do with, which was depicted here. Society in general, you are successful if you have money, not if you have great mental health, not if you have, you know, you know, the personal interest of others. If you're empathetic, if you have money, you could be the shittiest person, but if you have money, you're a successful dude. You're a good dude, right? This is all a societal thing that is ridiculous. And, you know, I really, 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 really do think that this was probably his best video by far. Just the content. We're going to talk about the production of all of it because it was insane. Everything going on. It was one take again, completely live. Doing that with an orchestra behind you is fucking hard. It is difficult. So I want to get back into this. We're going to break this down kind of one by one, or like not bar by bar, but okay, get there. Okay, here we go. So I love the piano intro, and the piano is throughout, right? You know this is Ren with all the rings, by the way. I knew immediately. I'm still shaking, guys, because like the production of this, like I felt like I was in it. Talk about that camera angle for a second. Obviously, well, I went way too far back. The right here. Obviously, the production on these is always really cool, right? And I like that you can kind of see him twice and with the reflection. I really do think the spiraling, right? The spiraling out of control is kind of a premonition or a look into the ending of this, right? Where he spirals out of control. Again, it's right in front of us. What's going to happen? The bait and switch with two of them. I think this is also saying like, because there's two of them and there's a lot of people are like covered with their masks, right? Everybody being covered is essentially like we're all a part of this. We're all a part of greed being the most important thing, money being the most important thing, which is kind of what happened in the first one, right? Where it's like we all are a part of this money game. But I think having two of him is sort of showing that like these billionaires, these rich people that are supposed to be so awesome, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. They are not unique in any way. Amazing what all of these music videos culminated into, man. It's crazy. The journey. I told us to set our expectations low, and I honestly think that I didn't need to, man. You do see the lapel mic, like I said, so this is all live. Bro got bedhead. I like that shot where you see both of them. Very similar sound with piano and just his singing voice, kind of the falsetto singing voice or head voice with the Joe tribute, right? much slower rendition of the Money Game theme. Fixing himself up like James Bond.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old, he...
Okay, first words were my, gimme, right? Already showing that he's got greed. Already showing that it's all about wanting things. Not bettering the society as a whole, just wanting
was
things.
walking. 3 years old, walking quickly. 4 years old, he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here, son.
Sorry. I want to see what that book says. Business economics. Makes sense.
Daddy told him, listen here, son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man, he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he
This is not a hot take. His parents paid for his private school, right? I think another issue too with a lot of these, like a lot of the rich elites, right, are born in, not necessarily born into their millions, but they're born being well off, right? So while they do have, like, he was born smart and way ahead of everybody, right? He's still born into luxury, and I think that messes with their minds a little bit. And I'm not saying like you should feel bad for them, but what I am saying is they don't understand struggle. So when they do struggle, that struggle is 10 times feels 10 times worse than it is for people like you and me who go through struggle every day, aren't sheltered, all that stuff. So then they do lash out. And because they have an unrealistic life, the way they lash out is unrealistic. Let's keep going.
When he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends.
Yeah. Money is the means to an end, right? That's a general statement, right? Like, technically speaking, yeah, you need money to buy a house. You need money to basically live, to eat, all that stuff. Money is necessary for everything that you need, right? But when you say money is a means to an end, that's very general. Money, you could use money to have someone killed. You can have money, you can use money to buy drugs. You can have money, use money to, anything. You can use it for bad things. You can use it for good things. So money is a means to an end is a very general statement. It's not very specific. It could be interpreted in many different ways. And I think that's why he used that line.
14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17.
Right? Like, so this hits me because I'm in cybersecurity, right? A lot of what some cybersecurity professionals do is they create code and they try to penetrate either their own systems or other systems. And that's what penetration testing is for. So you learn where your weaknesses are and you build them up, right? So that part of it, I understand. But building code to find weaknesses, right? That's hacker stuff. That's what hackers do. And ransomware, that's where that comes from, where you hold basically a company's information for ransom. And you say, I will only give it back to you unless you give me $6 million, right? So there's a lot of money making in that. And that's part of what I do, is to make sure that that access doesn't happen and that, vulnerability doesn't happen. But there's a lot of money in doing that. So basically, this kid is finding every little thing he can to make money with using his smart hacker, right? Create software, all these different things. Genius. But the whole point of this is, what do you do with that genius? Do you use it for good or do you use it for evil? 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 9. I like he ended that. I think it's a sus chord or diminished. I can't tell, but It's a very like chord, right? Because what he's saying is it needs to hit.
You're a man, this world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares in.
That's almost like a defeatist mentality, right? It's almost like everybody's out to get you, so you need to protect yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. I lived that way for a long time, and it actually affected me in a negative way. I think that's part of why right now, because you know, economics is so important, money is so important now, that we don't worry about other people. We don't worry about empathy. How many times, be honest with yourself, how many times you've been on the street and seen somebody, not a homeless person, but like their car broke down on the side of the street, or, you know, somebody just needs help that you see, that you just keep walking, you don't stop, right? A lot of us do that. Maybe because we have too much going on for our day. Maybe because we're scared they have bad intentions, which is kind of part of the fear mongering that the media does, right? All these things. We live in a society where empathy is kind of secondary to greed. Everything is secondary to greed.
18 and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns that truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a lie.
Ooh, going back to the kind of computer coding, right? If you manipulate the data, right? Let me read that line.
21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is.
What did he say?
So take all that you can.
Sorry, guys. I want to hear it.
Profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you
The truth is just an obstacle to wealth, right?
manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself.
Manipulate the data and the lie will sell itself. You can make these lies and then just manipulate the data, right? Whether it's literal fiscal data, which a lot of companies do, or, you know, things that you say, articles that go out there. You can control the media. You can control the cops, all these things. The data is manipulated in your favor.
23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here, son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27,
Okay.
and his daddy tells him, listen here, son, it's the Forbes list, they're applauding his name.
Okay, Forbes list, they're applauding his name, right? Even though he's doing all this horrific shit, lying, cheating, changing the numbers, right? We applaud him. Oh, look, he's 23. He's so rich. Oh my gosh, he has so much money. Yeah, but how did he get that money, right? Nobody really tends to care because you don't want to go after a rich person, man. They can hire lawyers. They can buy the cops. All those things.
25, and his daddy tells him, listen here, son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won.
Just because you're sitting in the palace and you're super rich, that doesn't mean that you won, right? You got to keep going. I do think a lot of times as a parent, we want the best for our kids, and sometimes we go overboard. I'm not speaking specifically for me, but I think there are a lot of parents that are like that, right? We think if we tell them to keep going, the sky is the limit, right? If we just tell them we're happy with who they are now, I think that could be dangerous as we find out.
26, a business shift, he switches business to arms.
The reaction, I need to make more money. What's a good big money maker in America or in the whole world? Let's start selling weapons. Let's start selling ammunition.
27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now,
right? So again, the money bought him a Senate seat or a presidency. He bought his way into the presidency. Sound familiar, guys? I've mentioned before that presidents make a ton of money in campaign money. Where does that money go at the end of it? It's supposed to go towards their presidency, but where does it actually go? I feel like becoming president, the campaigning and stuff is just a money grab for a lot of those politicians.
counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30. His daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver.
Because he's not president or the king, right? He's not even second place. It means it's not good enough. Not good enough.
Losing the race, you're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval. Moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket.
Okay, along with all that, right? The music's getting more intense, getting more eerie, getting more dark, because now he's selling drugs, like selling weapons, all this over the border. He's bought the police; they're in his pocket. All these things I said earlier, right? Basically, he's a drug kingpin. All for that mighty dollar, right? Because money means success.
34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket.
You pay all the policemen's expenses, all the, the force's expenses, they'll turn a blind eye.
Stop it, blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket. "35, he gets the call. I'm sorry, son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack. I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed off, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic.
I didn't hear that before. He's abusing his own product, right? Taking the drugs. This person, his dad, that he puts on such a high pedestal is gone. So now, what's driving him now, right? What's driving him now? Really, the money's been driving him, but the money was a means to impress his father, impress his idol, impress this person he's put on a pedestal for himself. Right? So now he's lost. He's going to overreact. He's going to have outbursts. He's going to, spiral. And that's what's happening now. Getting drunk, getting high, all these things. Going to react.
Using his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion. Heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39,
eating off a silver spoon, chasing the dragon. I'm assuming that's, cocaine, heroin, I think.
Of passion, heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour.
Yep.
Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, "I don't think you'll be walking again." Fuck.
Got so greedy. He went to fight with the cartel, right? To gain more, who knows, turf war, more, just try to get more control and get more money, right? Again, greed, probably with his dad's voice ringing in it. That's not enough. You need to do more. But he's drunk. He's high all the time. So the plan wasn't correct. He didn't think of all the outcomes that could happen.
One in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, "I don't think you'll be walking again."
Paralyzed.
Fuck.
This part's crazy to me. Again, remember, this is live, so the orchestra has to be able to see him.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, gimme. 41, he wasn't walking. 42, not walking quickly. 43, never running round the pavements of his city.
Okay, I did not realize that came full circle, because I was more worried about what was going on with the music. So the beginning, he talked about walking and crawling, walking around his city. But now he can't do any of that because he's paralyzed, and he's cursing the first words, right? Mine, gimme. He's cursing that because that's what led him to be in this wheelchair. Wow. Crazy full circle moment. And what better point for that than to have the orchestra come in?
Words, mine, gimme. 41, he wasn't walking. 42, not walking quickly. 43, never running round the pavements of his city. 1944, inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him, and it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck for money and fame. Cut the music.
Honestly think besides the ending, this is the most powerful part, man. Again, we're all part of this. We all do this to a certain extent, right? Some of us more than others, right? Money, fame, that's what we all want. Even if it's a little bit, that's what we all want. Talking about selling his soul, right? Killing and, killing, murdering, deceiving, all for money. But what has it got him? Him left in this wheelchair. All these piles of gold, but he's not happy. He can't move. He can't walk. Oh, this is crazy. Like that he's grabbing the camera.
This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we... This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines.
This isn't entertainment. This is real life, right? Yes, music is supposed to be entertaining. This video is supposed to be entertainment. But really, this is depicting real life. What he's saying. Very true. And
hyperpolar. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines.
The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. The way we're living, it's causing humankind and our communities to decline, right? I said there's been a drop. I've been saying this in almost all my videos. There's been a drop in empathy. There's been a drop of understanding. There's been a drop of sympathy in the human race because of everything else going on. We're all so focused on our cell phones and, oh, I want to post this on Instagram. I want to make sure this looks really cool. I want people to know that what I'm doing. I want to brag about this. I want to brag about that. Oh, my football team's better than yours. Oh, look at all this money I made this week. Look at all the money I made last month. A lot of music is about like, oh, but look at my car. Look at my money. Look at my chains, right? Everything is greed. Everything is in society is pushing greed upon everybody else. When you idolize these people who are doing that, then you do that. And when you're middle class, lower class, and you're trying to idolize these people, even when money you don't have, you buy this expensive shit you don't need because you want to look like you're rich, right? Great. Brings the economy up. But what about social status? What about mental health? What about all this shit?
This isn't entertainment. This is real life. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention.
Truth is less important than the money we design, right? Technically speaking, money it's a real thing, but it was created by us, right? We could totally, if we had wanted to, never created money, never create this fiscal system and still been trading goods for goods, right? You know, I might not need, this coaster, I might not need it anymore, right? But you have a car, but you don't need the car. You really need this set of coasters, right? So I'll trade these coasters because I have my need for them, my value of them is much lower than it is for you. You drastically need these coasters. You don't need a car because you stay home. You don't need to do any of that. I drastically need the car, right? While the value money-wise is completely different, that doesn't matter. If we both agree to that trade, we each value each of those items differently, then that's a fair trade, right? We put this value on things, and it's probably one of the worst things man ever created.
Important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. Yep. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution? everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me.
Yep. Starts from a very young age that we talk about, you need to go to school, you need to learn, you get these good grades so you can get a good job and you can provide for yourself, right? What his dad said at the beginning. Money is a means to an end. Brainwashing these kids to think you need to get this money at all costs. Forget everybody else. Don't worry about your fellow man. Just do what you need to do to get ahead for yourself.
Then there's no future I see where the humans survive. We're parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface then consumes till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise.
Those were bars, by the way. Poetic bars. Person in the front right there got fucked with rain. You see that?
45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants. He is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same.
45 to his brain, 45 a fitting number because that's his age.
Aimed at his brain, 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father. It's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
By the way, I think it's meant to be suspenseful whether he pulled the trigger or not. Because you don't hear a gunshot, you just hear the gun cock. Yeah. That ending there, he talks about, he got everything he wanted. He wanted money, he wanted fame, he got all of it, and he's still not happy. So what really is the positives of money? What really is the positives of fame? And we see this all too often with, celebrities, with, the rich, the elites. Mental health, there's statistics to show this. Mental health for people who are rich, older and rich, have a lot of mental issues. And I don't think it's necessarily the fact because they have money, but I do think it's with that money what it brings to you mentally, right? You get all this money, you get all of these things, you're able to get anything you want, but you're not happy because what did you do to get everything that you want? Does it make you feel better that you have? And also, money isolates people because of this, right? I did say at the beginning, it shows that there's a lot of people who are billionaires, but at the same time, a lot of those billionaires, you can't really know if the people who are your friends are actually your friends or if they're friends because of your money, right? So you get isolated a lot. Every choice that you make has a consequence. So even if you're rich and you're an elite and you have all this money, what were the decisions that led to those things? What were the consequences, right? Did you lose some family members that you love? Did you hurt somebody? Did you, a lot of these, there's so much that goes into this. I feel like, the whole money game too, the money game, events or whatever that you want to call it that he did, all culminated into all of these things. It was an oxymoron. He even said this himself. It was an oxymoron. All about, you're going to win money every time you do this, right? At the end of the day, what happened? They burned the money, right? All these things that people did for money, all this time that people did to try and win $1,000. Honestly, if I'm going to be straight up with you guys, the amount of time people took to try and win the $1,000, you could have made more working a second job. If you're going to put that much time into it, work a second job, you would have made way more than $1,000. I understand it's fun. It's doing it for Ren and all this shit. But if you really, really think about it, be smart. Be smart. I didn't do it because I had no time at all, but I was working too. So like, I don't know. It's just this whole, this was his best. Ren's Money Game Part 3 is his best on the album for the story, for all of that. Musically speaking, it's a lot like Jenny and Screech, where the music isn't the main thing, the story is, and the accompanying music is just that. It's an accompanying piece to the story. So musically, it's not the best. I still do think his last one was Lost All Faith, but I think this one all encompassing is better. I think this one's better than High Ren in terms of the message. I think High Ren is great for mental health, which is a super important thing. We all can relate to that. But I think the message to this one, I was saying in the other chat, like, if this was a cult, this would be a cult I would join. And I am super against cults. And he said, and I'll leave you with this. What Ren said in that chat too was he's an agnostic that believes in the people. And I really do think if we can adopt this mentality that he has about not just money and how it can be the root of all evil, but money's not the root of all evil. How we value it is the root of all evil. I think that if we're more empathetic, if we're more sympathetic, if we are more giving to others, if we are more in tune with other people's emotions and what we do affects others, I think society will be so much better off. Right? That was crazy. This is an hour-long video, but it is warranted. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this entire thing. I might do a follow-up to this after it's set in for a bit and kind of talk about it a little bit more, but that was crazy. That was intense. I think it's fitting to round this out with High Ren being my very first reaction video. This will be my last Ren video for the week. And just, I really enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please support Ren, man. He's a genius. If this didn't prove it, there's so many other songs that can prove it. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on his channel. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on my channel. And please do remember that good vibes are contagious.